Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and welcome to the dystopian future that is Labour's Britain. Because I want you to imagine that you owned a little bit of land and you'd owned it for several generations. It was in your family and it was somewhere that you cherished. And it's in the green belt and you think, oh, it's lovely here and it's so peaceful. Imagine a government comes along and says, look, we've got a compulsory purchase order and we're going to buy your land. And you think, well, that'll be sad, but it's worth £5 million. So I'll take you £5 million and walk away. And the government say, no, it may be worth £5 million, but we're the government and we're not going to give you £5 million. We're going to give you £2 million for it. You'll go, well, hang on a minute. It's worth £5 million. Why are you only giving me £2 million? And the government said, because we're the government and we're basically going to turf you off your land, give you a pittance for it, and then having effectively stolen that land at well under market value, we're going to turn it, regardless of what the locals think, into a whole new bunch of housing and fill it with immigrants. You wouldn't be happy, would you? You wouldn't be happy if that happened. And yet, that's exactly what is happening. What do you do if you're one of these property owners? Because property owners who don't want to be turfed out of their land by the government, they face effectively being punished simply for owning land by these compulsory purchase orders well under market rate, or what's called eminent domain rate for the land. 65% of greenbelt land in this country is owned by farmers. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because what they want to do, and what they're plainly and obviously doing, is they're doing compulsory purchase. They want to cover farmland. Why do they only want to buy farmland? There's plenty of old factory sites. Go buy them. There's plenty of dead zones. Buy them. No. They want to turn farmland into housing, because the last thing this government wants, and the WEF owners of this government want, is for Britain to be able to farm and produce its own food. Because a country that is self-contained and can feed itself at a push can't be controlled. But a country that relies on its ports to bring the food in can have those ports shut down. And when it causes trouble, it can be starved into submission. And so don't believe all the bullshit that we need more housing and blah, blah, blah. This is a land grab against Britain's farmers. And we've seen in the east of England how they're buying up, compulsory purchasing land to put these great big solar panels in that won't produce anywhere near enough power for this country. Not when you take in industry as well. The only way you're going to power this country is hundreds of nuclear power stations if you want to do it in the greenest way possible. But they're not doing that for some reason. Well, the reason, of course, is obvious. They want to starve us. And so they're putting these compulsory purchase orders on saying, oh, there isn't enough land to build lots and lots of homes for all the immigrants that are coming in. And so they're taking it. But like I say, they're not going into towns. They're not taking dead zones in towns. Here's the thing, right? If they were destined to say, oh, we need more houses. Tell you what, take some football club, compulsory purchase a football club and build houses on that land and build flats on that land. But you're not doing that, are you? Why is that? And where there's factories lying idle and empty, why aren't you knocking them down and putting flats there? No? Why aren't you buying shitty land where nobody does anything? No, not doing that. No, it's all predominantly farmland. So this new Labour government has this thing. It's set to give. They're bringing the law through now, and it's set to give local councils the power to buy greenbelt land, farmland. It's a special new, below what's called theoretical market price, that they themselves have the power to set. It's not set by an independent body that looks at what the land's actually worth. What the land is worth is set by the councils. And this change in this rules has come about because immigration that they don't want to stop and destruction of farmland so that the country can be controlled and you can starve people into submission. That's what this government, this Labour government, are planning. They're planning your demise. They want you on your knees. And if you refuse to get on your knees, They will starve you, they will starve your children until you comply. It's comply or die with this Labour government, and you will die of starvation because they're destroying farmland in this country, and they're doing it deliberately, and they're even telling you that they're doing it. Now, to overcome what I can say is this government policy created shortage of homes, of land, of resources, of doctors, of nurses, all this. That is what they're doing. They are expanding towns. They're creating new towns in the heart of our farming communities. They're killing two birds with one stone, and they're killing us with it. After the Second World War, Winston Churchill and the new Labour government at the time, with I can see his face, Clem Attlee. The Tories under Winston, he then resigned. He came back. He didn't resign. He lost as Prime Minister. He came back a few years later. But it was done between the two governments that they'd create these zones. And so, yes, there was the green zone, the green belt land around towns and cities to stop urban sprawl and spread. And then they built up. And of course, in the 50s, you had the other big one, which was the smokeless zone thing to stop all the London smogs, and tens of thousands of people died because of these pea soup fogs and smogs in London. So they made all this, the Clean Air Act and that, and the Green Belt, to try and make lives for people better. And they created some new towns. And then in the 60s, they decided that they're running out of land, so they went up and they built those monstrosity tower blocks, which are monstrosities, but they are at least homes. It does give people somewhere, shelter, a home. That's no longer the thing, because now they're not concerned with cleaning the air for the people. They're not concerned with providing homes for the British people. They're not concerned with the British people. They're looking at this replacement, this race replacement, and keep on bringing the foreigners in. And they're also looking at starving us out by destroying all our resources. It's not coincidental. They want to close down the gas fields, close down the oil fields, close down the coal fields, get rid of the farming, overfish the seas, 15-minute ghettos, remove our cars, remove our rights, remove our freedoms, remove our voice. And we're walking into it. If you are yet to see the film V for Vendetta, please go and watch it. It's, 20 years old. 20 years ago, it was talking about some future dystopia. Watch it. It was made 20 years ago, and now we're living in it. Thanks very much. Goodbye.